Hi, I'm Jessica Amir for the Finance News Network. Joining me now over the phone from AusCann Group Holdings is Managing Director Elaine Darby to discuss the Australian market for cannabis and its regulatory approvals. Elaine, welcome.
Thanks, Jessica.
So Elaine, can you start by giving us an introduction to AusCann Group Holdings for those who aren't familiar with the company?
So AusCann is an Australian-based listed company. We're incorporated back in September of 2014. The whole reason for why the company was incorporated and put together was for the production of high-quality, cost-effective and clinically validated cannabinoid medicines for Australian patients.
Very good. So Elaine, what's the market potential for cannabis in Australia?
I guess when you look at what the main reason cannabinoid medicines are used internationally, in places like Canada and so on and so forth, and Israel, the number one use is for the treatment of chronic pain and chronic neuropathic pain in particular. And if we just look at that particular indication here in Australia, it's quite a significant patient group there. With chronic pain, there's about 3.2 million adult Australians who are suffering chronic pain, and in neuropathic pain, it's about 1.8 million. So we're talking a very significant market group here, just in those particular indications. And I guess why they are of such significance and why that cannabinoid medicines are used quite extensively for these particular conditions is because this is where we actually have the best evidence for use for cannabinoid medications. And also, in particular, these conditions aren't being well treated with existing treatments. So, for instance, with the treatment of general chronic pain, there are significant problems with the use of opiates in terms of side effects that are associated with that. And they found that when they incorporate cannabinoid medicines, they're actually able to really reduce down the opiate use. So there's like this opiate sparing effect. So that's why it's a key area of use for these medications internationally. And also neuropathic pain in particular, it doesn't respond well even to opiates.
And Elaine, what do you see as the main challenges in developing this market, and how is AusCann addressing this challenge?
Our main challenge is basically educating the Australian medical community to bring them comfort to actually prescribe cannabinoid medicines. They don't obviously have knowledge in this space at this point in time. So how we're addressing this is that we're looking to the Canadian experience. The Canadian doctors have been prescribing cannabinoid medicines since early 2014. So we've appointed as our Chief Medical Advisor, Dr. Daniel Schechter, Canadian physician who has extensive experience in the prescription of cannabinoid medicines, to give us guidance on our whole medical outreach program that we have. This involves our medical liaison managers who go around providing education, a mentorship program between Canadian doctors and Australian doctors, and also online education courses that they can undertake.
And Elaine, assuming everything falls into place, where do you see the Australian market 2 years from now?
So if we look at what happened in Canada, and I think that's a good model for us to follow on, if we look back when they first started prescribing cannabinoid medicines in 2014, there were just under 8,000 patients. As of early this year, there is now in excess of 170,000 patients that are registered that are using cannabinoid medicines. So in the space of a fairly short time, the patient uptake has been quite significant, and it's increasing about 10% a month. And they're looking there that by 2021 that they'll have about 500,000 patients. And I think Australia can really follow this same trajectory in terms of patient uptake, just because we're able to utilise that Canadian experience in terms of educating our medical community and really springboard off that.
Last question for you now, Elaine. What's the focus for the next 12 months and long-term ambition for the company?
So our focus at the moment is bringing in medications now from our Canadian partner, Canopy Growth Corp, for supplying to the patient groups, educating the Australian doctors on these medications and getting them to start prescribing. Also, in particular, we now have licenses to grow and cultivate to get our operation underway in Australia. We're very keen to have Australian product as soon as possible, and we'll be looking around near the end of next year to actually have an Australian medication that we're supplying, and really generating growth from there in terms of getting these products out to the patient group.
Well, Elaine Darby, thank you so much for the update.
No worries. Thanks very much.